I was supposed to be cleaning up my shop, and I got started on that. But I thought I would bring the gear out here to make a recording for you guys, like I have been doing, trying to do anyway, once per month. And I'm kind of in the, I don't know, I'm kind of in the clamp vise world right now. And I guess it starts with the thing that I made, the straight edge guide. So I was working with that, and then I don't know how it came about. It was a comment by Graham Howe, I think it was. My memory is so wrecked, man. It's because I have so many things going on and so many, different sources of input coming from all directions. It's just hard to try to keep it straight these days. And I think I mentioned this before, but I think that as you grow older, your brain automatically starts to filter stuff. Like you'll see it, of course, and you'll understand it, of course, and you'll remember it for a very short time, but unless it's really something critical, your brain's not going to hold on to it, because I guess your brain knows better about these things and knows its capacity and knows that maybe, I don't know, maybe it's the brain doing it, maybe it's old age, I don't know. I'm not particularly that old, though. I'm only 52. So anyway, I got a comment about the bar. What was I talking about? Man, if I could remember this stuff. Maybe I should have looked into it before I came out here. Anyway, so it was about the bar clamps. Hang on. Now I remember. It was the test that I made for the bending stress on the bar. Okay? And Graham said, well, what about the teeth chipping off here from the pressure? And that's a reasonable thing to ask, because they are under some stress, but the stress is transferred in a different way. I mean, okay, you got a stick in here that you're clamping. You're tightening the handles. What that's doing is it's clamping on the wood, but it's also pushing back in an equal amount of force. And that pushing back gets translated into a kind of a rotational force here as well, because this thing is trapped on the bar. And so it'll pivot from this point up at the front here into the back at the back here. And that's the reason why I've got this metal plate in here and I cut the teeth up there. So it stops it, but the primary force that's being transferred is going down. There is some that's going straight back, but primarily it's being held by that down force. And the teeth just help to facilitate that. So I came out and I took one of them, because it occurred to me, maybe there's, because before, I know I'm kind of, it seems like I'm on crystal meth here or something, but I'm not. I had 3 cups of coffee before I came out here, but that's not enough to jangle me. I'm just kind of all over the place because I keep thinking of things or keep remembering things. I made a clamp with a threaded rod on the bar before, and the threaded rod had the advantage of being locking like quickly like that. I mean, and spaced, not spaced far apart. Of course, the teeth on a threaded rod, I think it was quarter 20. So I had 20 teeth per inch, so it had lots of points to lock in, so you don't have to have a long lead screw on here. So the other day I was thinking, not the other day, it was a couple of weeks ago now, I was thinking, what if there was something gritty on the edge there instead of, the teeth cut in, or instead of the threaded rod glued in? What if it was a strip of sandpaper? So I came out And I sacrificed one of my red clamps to try out that idea. And lo and behold, it works. So I drew up a plan for it in SketchUp. Not a full plan yet. Because there's one thing in particular that I need to prototype. And that's the width of this moving jaw part right here. Because what this does is it kind of relies on racking. And racking is that rotational force that pushes the back of this thing here into the bar. And then it's the grit that's on the bar that will stop it from moving back. And if you make this thing too wide, it will not rack by the right amount. If you make it too narrow, it'll rack too much and dig in. And I think for this width bar, this width of moving jaw thing here is correct because I'm getting good results. It's locking up fine. But I need at least another ½ inch, I think. I need to make this the same size as this was originally to make this clamp strong enough to be actually usable for like longer distances. I want to make it to be, say, a 16-inch clamp like this so that you get the full clamping without too much deflection, like that test I was doing for the bar deflection. Because this is what the thing boils down to. It's the strength of the bar. I've determined that. Every other part of the construction of this clamp is more than strong enough. Like it'll withstand all of the forces that will be applied while you're clamping something. But the bar bending is the big issue and ultimately breaking if you apply too much pressure. So I've got that to do. But in the meantime, I decided to look into this mechanism here, and I talked about this in recent videos, except this last night actually I started designing a vise that's very similar to this that uses this mechanism. And I keep getting people, after posting the video, saying that it's not a common mechanism. I keep getting people posting links to vices that use half nuts. And it's not the use of the half nut. I mean, that is a very common thing to do. It's the arrangement that I have here that makes this different, I think, as well as something I haven't seen before. The nuts are fixed. They don't move. What happens is the bar tilts up and it slides back and forth to adjust, to rapidly adjust. And then it slips down and locks in. And that's the difference. Other things that, you know, have levers and whatnot, mechanical parts that you need to shift and move, that's not the same as this. They use half nuts, yes. But this arrangement right here seems to be unique, or at least I haven't seen it before. Anyway, so I started designing a vise based on that, and I'm going to be working on that this week. What I'm going to do is, because I know it's going to work, because I've already done the mock-up here, is I'm going to go ahead and work through the plans, get those done. Then I'll come out here later in the week and I will start doing the build video. And then next weekend will be, like, I'll post it, the build video, the plans, and the build article. So it'll all come out next week. I couldn't, actually. I could have, if it was a couple days ago. I might have been able to get it done by this weekend if I had really pushed it. But you know what? What for? You know? I've been putting out a lot of plans lately. I've been doing a lot of hard work to get that stuff done. I need to slow down just a little bit so I can actually remember what the fuck I'm doing. Anyway, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this clamp and I'm going to clamp it on this thing right here, this vise, and see what happens to it when I try to really crank it up, really, really tight. Okay, so I'm undoing the screw here as much as I can, not for any particular reason, because this is infinitely adjustable. Like, you don't have to fit it into teeth. So it goes up against that. The way that it works is that you want to push your thumb against that. It'd be nice to get some sort of a spring in there so that you wouldn't have to do that. And then you just start tightening it up. And after starting to tighten it up, it will slip just a little bit, like it just did, but then it locks in. And hang on, I'll pull this shit out of here so you can see better, okay? So it did start to slip a little bit, and this is what I've noticed, but then it does dig in and lock. And so I think it's slipping. It's making a liar out, but you can see how distorted it's gotten, you know? No, it's not slipping. It's not slipping at all. What's happening here is that it's bending too much, maybe. You do these kind of live demonstrations, they can really make you look like a total buffoon. So yeah, it didn't slip. It dug in really hard there. But something else happened. It started to go that way. So let's try again, shall we? Can you guys see? Of course you can. Okay, so you can see what's happening here is, okay, it's taking quite a bit of effort to tighten on this, but what's happening is that it's digging into the, it's digging into the bar at the front, maybe I'll say, and it's digging into the bar at the back. So, but it is applying quite a lot of pressure. And I don't know if I could make it break. Like you can see how much is distorted here, right? So the problem, like I said, with this one is that the bar is too small. I can see how much is bent up there already. So probably not the best. Probably not the best example of this thing actually working. But you can see that it didn't slip. Like it's still held in place. It's the other parts of the clamp that are going out of line and failing. So I don't know, this is maple, the bar, and with the sandpaper glued on there, the sandpaper is from a sanding belt. Regular sandpaper, like paperback sandpaper, won't work here because it'll tear. You need cloth backed. And see, you can see how much this dug in here, quite a lot. And you can see how much it dug into the back up here as well. Now, there's something else I could do as well. I could put sandpaper on the back along with the sandpaper on the front. So that'll give me double grip. But these are things that I have to work out. I mean, this would be a killer clamp design if I can get it to work properly. But it's going to take some experimentation to try to get this bar the correct size, get the moving jaw the correct size, get the interface, interface between these parts correctly shaped. Right, like right now, this thing is shaped for the teeth that used to be in here. So it's just pressing right down at the very point on the front here. And I don't know, maybe that's the best way to have it, but then maybe that's what's causing it to dig in too much. Maybe I need more surface area there. Maybe I need the same amount. Maybe I need actually a little bit less, although I can't see it being less. And the other thing I'd probably get a comment on when I'm doing this is, won't that wear out? You know, won't you be sanding away your thing, adjusting it? But I mean, you look at it, how many times you use a clamp, during the course of a project. And, you know, if you slide it back and forth, especially if there's no sandpaper on the back here, just to keep it, you know, just pay attention and slide it this way and not slide it this way. And even so, anybody that's done any sanding will quickly realize how long it would take to actually sand that down inside there, even with this fairly coarse sanding belt. So anyway, that about wraps it up. That's what I'm up to. And what else could I talk about? There were other things I was thinking of, but I think that this has gone on long enough. There's something in particular I'll probably cover in the next video, something I've been thinking about as far as Patreon and the channel memberships go. I was thinking about doing something else, possibly. The only problem is implementing it. But it would take these middlemen like Patreon and YouTube out of the picture for the membership thing and shift everything to my website. But I mean, with everything that I have going on, with all this stuff happening, and my trepidation at working on a website that I don't really understand anymore, I'm kind of holding off on that until I can find somebody that could possibly help out with it. And the guy that designed the site for me, redesigned the site, he's kind of bailed on me. And I'm left with a site that I can do some basic things, but I can't make major changes to. Like this membership thing that I was thinking about would be a major addition to the site. And what it would do is it would kind of fold in the existing old forum that I have there as well. And this would be a place that members could make comments or show projects or whatnot. You become a member. And I didn't mean to go into this in detail, but I'm here, I might as well go into it a little bit more. What membership would give you, I think it would be on 2 levels. The first level would give you basically everything you're getting with Patreon, except you'd also have access. Well, Patreon has a comment feed that you can comment on the videos and whatnot. What will replace that, of course, is the comment thing on the forum type thing. It wouldn't be a real forum, I don't think, but it would be more like a place where you could comment and do stuff. And then the next level up would include all of the plans for the site would be freely available. And also, I plan on doing some exclusive builds. So these would be builds that wouldn't be on YouTube. These wouldn't be regular articles on my website. You'd have to be a member to access those as well. And the reason why I'm doing this is the recent problems with Patreon with their banning members for what appears to be petty reasons. And also, I just went through a tax problem, and it took a lot of work to get the information from Patreon about the people that are contributing. You know, some people contribute for a couple of days and then they stop, you know, like for a month or whatever. So there was a lot of that, and it was very difficult to get the actual geographic location for them, because that's what these assholes want. They want to know how many of these people are Canadian so that we can charge tax to them. You know, it's like my plans that I sell on the website, okay? They're American dollars, and occasionally I'll get an email from someone in Canada asking why they're in US dollars. It'd be better if they were in Canadian dollars, because then it'd be less, right? And then I point out that I'm not even charging HST on those. I'm absorbing any HST that would be charged on those. So by rights, I should be charging it. My situation with the Canadian sales is that they're low enough that I'm not actually paying any HST on them. So that would be like taking extra from people in my own country that are buying the plans. Like, this is how fucked up this system is, right? With this, and same thing for VAT. Like, I'm below the threshold for VAT, so it's the same thing. I'm not charging the VAT. But anybody in Europe, in the European Union, would be paying more than people in the US for plans, because they'd have to pay that little cut to the government, because the government needs to be getting their fingers into every frigging thing, man. They need to get a little piece of every little thing. How sickening is this? And they, especially with the VAT, I mean, it's a nightmare to do the accounting for that. It's insane. Like, every country has their own thing. It's crazy. So, I don't know. The membership thing would eliminate a lot of the administrative problems that would come up if I were to be audited again. As in, I would have all of that information at my disposal without having to email, because you can't phone call any of these people, without having to email anybody at Patreon and then wait for frigging days. In the meantime, the deadline's almost up that the government gave you to get the documentation in. I didn't get it in time, actually. So anyway, that's coming, maybe, possibly. I can't say one way or the other. I would really like to implement it, but like I said, I don't have a lot of time to devote to it. And to implementing it would be a different thing. If it was implemented, I would be there all the time. I would be more engaged in that than I ever could be in Patreon. First of all, the thing about Patreon is it's such a crap interface, and it takes time to sign in, and nothing actually is happening there unless you post something. So this other thing would be more of a community type thing, and I would expect that members that would go over there would be a little bit more engaged, possibly. I don't know. It's something that you don't know until you actually try it. But then that's like everything that I have that exists now. I never knew it was going to work until I tried it.